It's a Conspiracy is a proud member of the Alberta Podcast Network, powered by ATB. For a list of other fun programming, please check out the albertapodcastnetwork.com, where you can find shows like Kyle and Dave versus the Machine.
It's a conspiracy!
Episode 10.
Wait, I wasn't actually. I wasn't recording.
Charlie.
I was just saying I was ready.
Damn it.
I'm ready now,
Ready
guys.
now,
Are you
guys.
ready now, guys?
Okay, I'm ready. Okay.
Are we recording?
Yes.
Okay. Recording.
Recording.
Okay, we're recording.
Oh man, do you guys remember that one night where we didn't notice that it was not recording? And we had
No,
to,
but that's because it stopped at one point.
yeah, well.
It started, but then it stopped.
Do you remember how funny those jokes were the third time?
So, anywho,
was a good time.
have you guys noticed this is going to build up? I'm going to set the mark here. So just remember this little bit. Have you guys noticed this season we've been naming the episodes after Star Trek movies?
I have.
Okay.
Well, I thought it was 90210 episodes.
What? So episode 10, Nemesis, which was probably also a 90210 episode. But, yeah. Welcome back, everyone, to It's a Conspiracy. This is the podcast where we lay out the beliefs behind select conspiracy theories, alternative accounts, legends, myths, and more. I'm your host, Andrew, and I do not claim to be an expert on anything we're going to discuss today. And will probably be wrong about everything as usual because I value enthusiasm over precision. If you'd like to see where we dug up whatever treasures from the depths that we are going to discuss today, then please check out the resources in our episode description. Charlie
Like
turns
butter.
that out episode after episode, and reading it embiggens him as a person. Yep.
He churns it out like butter.
Turns it out.
right.
Yep. And we need to lift him up, celebrate our friend,
Hand over fist.
and enjoy what little time we have left. So
Wait, what do you say?
You wish.
Also, we are a proud member of the Alberta Podcast Network, powered by ATB.
Wow.
Yay, team.
Zap.
You can check us out online at our website, it'saconspiracypodcast.com. You can find links to our Twitter. That's run by the Irish Madman at Is It a Conspiracy? Our Facebook group, the Instagram, It's a Conspiracy Podcast. That's run by Greg. And our email, It's a Conspiracy at protonmail.com. Man, holy. And our Patreon page, patreon.com/It's a Conspiracy. Joining the Chin Chateaus is Charming Charlie and Gorgeous Greg. These two frozen fanboys will interject as they see fit, and I'm glad to get to do this with them. We need to lift each other up, celebrate, and enjoy what little time we have left together. All right, now, Charlie, with a yes or no, can you tell me?
Whoa. There's a little time we have left.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, totally. And you don't need to put a time on it. Yeah, okay. Just
sounds
there's so
like you
little
did.
time. Yeah, there's just so little time. Now, Charlie, with a yes or no, can you tell me if you've heard of either of these two things? Number one, the mystery box in New Brunswick.
What's in the box?
Yep.
No.
And number two, 10 fun facts about Groundhog Day.
No.
Oh,
Are you sure there's only 10?
there's maybe more than 10.
That's always a tricky one because I don't know the 10 exact facts that you have chosen.
They're fun. There's only 10 fun ones.
There's only 10 fun ones.
There's other ones, but they're not
It's
fun.
weird that there's always only 10.
There's only ever 10. Yeah, sometimes there's 8.
Interesting.
Okay,
Fun!
subject number 1, the mystery box in New Brunswick.
What's in the box?
What's in the box?
Now, Greg, you're from New Brunswick.
Yeah, I lived there for quite a while.
Okay, but you're from, and this looks like Moncton, but you've said this before, so how do we pronounce this properly?
Moncton.
No, but how do the Monktonians?
Well, because it's almost like there's a silent G. It's like Moncton.
Munghung.
You know, like mung bean. It's like Moncton.
Munghung.
There's no C.
There's no C.
Yeah, just mung. Just imagine the C is a G. Moncton.
Moncton.
Yeah.
Moncton.
It's weird, right?
There we go. Monkey Moncton.
Moncton.
Moncton. Okay. In Moncton, New Brunswickian, the salty shores, treasure and mystery abound, pirates.
Oak Island's not too
ships,
far from
yeah. One day, 1962, David McPherson Sr. was strolling through the Lutz Mountain. Is that okay? Lutz. And came across a massive 181 kilogram mysterious looking white box with cameras hanging So this box was covered in cameras. This box was hanging from a tree.
What kind of cameras are we talking about here?
Talking like massive cameras, like giant lenses on the outside of this weird looking box. I'll show you guys a picture in a second here. On closer inspection, McPherson realized the box was hanging by the remains of a deteriorated parachute. Thus began a mystery that would haunt the family for the next 5 decades. Okay, so here's a picture of what McPherson found.
See, McPherson's a pretty popular.
Hey, McPherson's findings.
McPherson's found. So he's found this. That's a picture.
It's kind of pixelated, but I see what you're saying.
Yep. It looks like an old freezer with like a window on it.
Interesting.
Could be one of those.
I like this one
beer
picture
cans.
of this chap just petting it and chatting it up. Nice box.
That's McPherson.
McPherson's nice box.
So McPherson reported the find, but no one came out to help. So eventually he decided to move the object himself and enlisted a few of his friends, the good people of New Brunswick. They're always willing to help out. Good people, good hearty folk.
Friendly.
Just salt of the earth. Just lovely.
Sure.
He hauled the box to his barn on Isaiah Road near Moncton and with his tractor. And he was quoted to say, "There's me tractor." So
There's my tractor.
See, I don't know why I expected anything less because I've heard people talk like that. So.
okay.
man.
So at first, the curious onlookers wanted to open the box, but they could see enough inside to realize there was film and a few other things. So the thinking was that they might ruin the film if they cracked it open. So they left it locked the entire time. Nobody ever peeked, or did they?
Bum, bum, bum.
So plus on the outside of the box, when they were pulling it in, all of a sudden this antenna like shot out the side and they were like, "Oh, okay, like what's that?" And McPherson's like, "I think that's a little bit of dynamite in the cap." And he looked inside and sure enough there was a tiny little bit of dynamite, like the actual dynamite blasting
Fucking
cap
typical East Coasters.
in the antenna. So he's like, "Let's not open that."
I think this is explosive. Let me check it out.
So
I
he-
say this with a lot of love.
Well, he decided he's like that there might be booby trapped. We better not open her. And booby trap again. That's collectively our favorite kind of trap. We've talked about this before. Word soon spread, and the box caused quite a stir in the small sailor village full of hardy shore folk. David's goodly, law-abiding wife, Lois McPherson. How East-timey is that name right there?
Lois McPherson.
Lois McPherson?
That's as good as it gets.
Oh, I saw her at the co-op. Like, just okay.
How did you know?
She's kind of the hero in this story. She was quoted in the paper asking, "Will it blow up? Was it supposed to blow up? Do you think it's from Russia? Are there any bones of a man found near it?" And eventually the Canadian military did stop by after she was quoted in the paper saying that. "A large army truck pulled into the yard, backed up to the garage where the thing was kept, and 6 burly men got out and attempted to load it into the vehicle." According to
Real
Lois,
good East Coast.
I know
that's not fucking bad. That's more spot on than a Scottish accent.
Oh, hey, now, come on. So, according to Lois, she took it upon herself to single-handedly stop the 6 burly men from taking the device anywhere that day. So she's like, not on my watch.
Want to wrestle?
Yeah, totally. Now, the next day, the military returned, restrained Mrs. McPherson, and loaded the device onto the truck, and that was the last the family ever saw of it.
Took 2 people to hold her arms and 1 person to take her box.
Whoa.
Now, Charlie, family-friendly podcast here.
That's
Rumors...
this friendly family. You can
Family friendly, yeah. Rumors swirled that the device was a weather balloon because balloons are always
boxy and heavy.
cameras and full of film. And they might have been an early spacecraft, alien technology, time travel pods, or, and we'll touch on this in a further episode, a local person attempting to beat any government organization in the space race. So apparently there's some guy in Eastern Canada who was like, "I can beat NASA into space." And that also, again, that
So
sounds...
Tom Phillips was in the box.
Why didn't you do this episode about him?
I know, man.
That's the
We're
guy I
going
wanted
to come
to
back to that guy. Yeah.
Sorry,
So
if I ruined something.
no,
for you. I was like,
not at all. No,
sorry.
that guy. That is
Maybe I
amazing.
know his family somewhere. I don't know.
Years later, Mrs. McPherson admitted that after the first military attempt to retrieve the device, she decided she needed a little look-see on the insides. According to her, it opened quite easily and contained a series of cameras with bizarre lenses, writing that contained a number of characters, including letters from the English alphabet, but also including letters from another alphabet. So she's like, it might be Russian, might be Arabic, I don't know. Reels of film and 2 large bottles of some kind of thick, transparent liquid. So that was what was inside. And then she closed it back up, And then she told people for years, no one ever opened it.
I think it's plasma.
Yeah.
I think it's plasma.
And interest in the object resurfaced again in 2016 when the premier of New Brunswick made an odd deal with the CIA, the U.S. organization, to allow the organization to use the Atlantic province as a black site. So the main objective would be for detaining terror suspects, but rumors began to fly that training, testing, and other operations would follow. One of the allegations harkens back to the infamous UFO crash site in Shag Harbor, which conspiracy theorists have long claimed to be the Roswell equivalent in Canada. So Shag Harbor, apparently a UFO crashed, and some guy was like, I found some stuff. I can make a spaceship. And he's like, some little...
I'll beat you into NASA.
Yeah, I'll beat you, NASA. And he's like a guy in an inlet somewhere. And then in 2017, a mere 6 weeks after McPherson Sr., the guy that found this thing in the first place, so he dies. 2017, he dies, dropped dead. 6 weeks after he dies, the Canadian government released sealed documents that confirmed what the device was. So it turns out it was a top secret CIA ANDMQ/1 surveillance reconnaissance camera developed to spy on Russian and Chinese activity from the atmosphere. And this kind of camera was carried around by balloons. So the balloon, the thinking was it had been blown off course or whatever. And then the camera like fell down. It had a little parachute, got caught in the tree. And it turns out that the good-natured maritimers were correct in their war suspicions all along. Huh. Yeah. Wild stuff. New Brunswick.
New Brunswick, of any place. Yeah.
In Moncton.
Mom.
So that's the mystery box. It belonged to the CIA. What's in the box?
What's in the box?
What's in the box?
What's in the box?
And speaking of boxes, Charlie, what are we drinking?
What are we drinking? We are drinking Yellowhead Brewery's Highway 16 Lager.
Have we ever had this before?
Yes.
We have. Probably more than once.
It's good, though. It's good.
It's good, and it's also too dark to read the can.
Uh-oh.
So we have
Hold on. I got
water,
this.
barley.
The Highway 16 Lager is a fresh take on an Edmonton classic. Our new recipe is a mildly sweet and delicately brassy with a crisp, clear finish.
Brassy.
Brassy. A well-balanced, accessible beer for everyone to enjoy. That's Yellowhead Brewery's Highway 16 Lager.
You know
It's
what?
going down fast.
It is. And this
Just
is
like I drive the highways.
this is a good beer. Like this is like a good let's sit and have a beer.
Yeah, beer.
Like it's not a fancy beer. It's like a barbecue beer.
Let's have a beer.
Yeah. Time for a beer with
I'm gonna
friends.
have one right now.
Yeah.
Now.
And I do love this. It's got the Yellowhead Brewery on the label. It looks like the Ghostbusters fire station, but it's actually a building here in
Oh
Edmonton.
man, I've had
It
so many
says,
Christmas parties there.
Hey, Andrew. I'm speaking to you.
Hey.
I'm the can of beer.
I'm the can of beer.
I'm the building.
Hi, sweetie.
I just spilled beer all over myself.
Holy man.
It's been a long day.
It has been a long day, yes. Well, that's going to take us to ad number 1. Hey guys, have you heard of the Edmonton Community Foundation? Hey guys, hey, hi. The foundation acts as a bridge between donors and charities to create a strong, vibrant community for generations to come.
You can start an endowment fund for yourself or with a group. Once it reaches $10,000, it can start distributing funds.
Oh.
The Vital Signs is an annual checkup conducted by Edmonton Community Foundation in partnership with the Edmonton Social Planning Council to measure how the community is doing. This year's focus is on arts, philanthropy, green spaces, and sport and recreation.
Learn more at ecfoundation.org.
Oh.
That's like
Are
a...
you going to finish your O? Pretend I didn't interrupt you there.
I thought you were going to
Boar.
throw it to Monster of the Week, but not yet.
Okay, here we go. And that will take us to Charlie Scream's
Oh,
Monster.
hold on,
Oh.
though. Before you do that.
Sorry about that.
I've got an exciting update for you.
Ding, 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 ding,
Gently
ding,
move those
ding,
out of the
ding.
way.
Charlie's got an update.
no, this isn't good.
I'm going to show you something.
The only reason he's doing an update is because he thinks he's going to win.
It is okay. So first, you got to explain what you're going to give us an update on
First,
because
we're doing an update on what are we testing? What are we testing? Finally,
Mama.
finally, we're
And
going to
some
do
movements.
an update that's going to be something better than nothing. So here's my horse in the race.
okay, this is the Little Debbie
Little Debbie.
Swiss roll
Come
from.
Let's give her an
Let's give her a
Swiss
look.
rolls.
This thing, like every time I open this up,
Brave your nostrils.
looking
Have
good.
a snifferoo.
I always
Still
think
good?
of the guy. I think it's Lenin, the Russian guy who's like locked up in the thing, just not decomposing.
some fuzz.
Is
there some fuzz?
There's some
fuzz.
fuzz.
Is there some fuzz?
Uh-oh.
Do you think that's
May I see?
taste it?
It's fuzzy. I know, like, that could just be the marshmallow, but it's not. Marshmallow is not fuzzy. It's
that's-
fucking fuzzy.
That's looking like the icing from the inside.
That's a fuzz.
I guess that means we'll have to compare it to the other horse.
Because there is icing in here, right?
there is icing in there.
There is. It's marshmallow.
Okay. Well, let's see. Exhibit B. I'm excited to. Oh, here I'll get it.
You ready?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, here we
Here,
go.
let's get a.
Oh, you're gonna do picture first.
Yeah. Picture time. Picture time. Everybody loves a little picture time, especially of some moldy snacks.
You think that's some moldy, moldy
I don't know.
Swiss
I'm fucking
rollsies
hoping
there?
so, man.
Exhibit B.
Well, here's exhibit B.
No!
Good heavens.
One of those apples looks totally normal. The other one,
I still have half a horse in the race.
dude, does it get?
Please do not open that lid.
Come on, take a snifferoo.
Please do not open that
Get
lid.
in there with you.
Good
Can we give
lord.
this guy a garbage
Is
can?
one of them a green apple?
Okay,
Was
okay.
supposed-
Before you got to get a picture of this. Like, I cannot believe the condensation on the
I think there was sabotage.
like.
I promise I did not tamper with the evidence.
There is so much water on the inside of that container right now. So one of the apples is fine, and
sweaty.
one of them looks like a green fuzzy tennis ball.
Sweaty. It's getting
And there's just
sweaty.
water all over the inside of the container. Did it get wet? Is that what happened?
I didn't add anything to it.
So your wife, on the other hand,
I'm
still saying I'm in the race.
Oh wow,
I'm still in this race because one of my apples is
that's
the right
real
color.
You
gnarly.
still want to hold on to it to the end of the.
Oh, I'm fucking.
Okay, well, we're leaving
you
the
can
other
even
apple
leave the
in
other
there.
apple in there.
That is. Please do
guys-
not open that.
gonna
Oh,
open
no,
it
let's
up.
open it and get a picture.
Gonna
Okay.
Open it up. Hold your breath. How does the one apple feel?
This one's fine.
No, look, there's got some black mold starting on it.
That could be from the
that
other
could just
one.
be from this one. This is awesome. This is amazing. it smells like apple cider.
Yeah, it's all fermented, right?
Oh, do you got a picture?
Can we? Oh, not yet. Can we poke the other one?
Oh, good lord! What? Look at the stickers like going inside.
That's like the best part. Is that sticker.
He's
That
out.
is
He's
so
now an innie.
gross.
I still feel like I have a horse in this
Oh, you
race.
think so? That still
No,
counts.
this is still half.
I'm going with it.
All right.
I'm going with it.
We'll put it back in the vault.
Oh
That
wow!
horse is still walking around.
I cannot believe that went that bad that fast. Because that
You
was
guys
fine
looked-
at Christmas
Yeah,
time.
no, didn't you guys take a look at it the other week?
I can't
Or
remember.
a couple weeks ago?
We looked at it during the
Time
holiday
has
special.
no meaning to me.
Andrew's just.
Oh, that was so
Shake it off, buddy.
gross,
Shake
man.
it
That
off.
was-
Here,
You want a
here.
bite? You
Drink
want a
some of
bite?
this beer.
I need a little drink just to.
Bite?
Nothing like a really, really rotten apple to just kind of put the tangy zip in your Miracle
So there you
Whip.
go. I thought that would be a fun thing.
Coronavirus.
That is a fun thing.
Corona, yeah.
Isn't it funny how coronavirus straight up sounds like a Jimmy Buffett song? I've got the coronavirus. Dun, 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 dun. All right, because so now, are we ready to go to the monster of the week?
Go to the monster of the week. Hogzilla, boys.
Hogzilla. I've heard of this.
Hogzilla. First, I'm going to show you pictures of Hogzilla.
Yep. I know
There he
what
is.
we're talking about.
There he is.
Wow.
Oh, big old,
Here's another one.
big old
There you
boy.
go. There you go. There you go.
That's bacon.
Oh my God! Look at those chops.
Wild bacon just walking around.
that?
Ooh, the Nuge would be proud.
Did the newt kill that thing?
Oh no. Hogzilla, let me tell you. Hogzilla is a giant pig who was shot and killed by a hunter named Chris Griffin in... That's it.
I don't know why. That's just gold.
That was a fucking
Of
Family
course
Guy,
he did,
man.
yeah.
A hunter named Chris Griffin in Alapaha.
Oh, you
Appalachia?
Alapaha.
You definitely said that correctly.
Alapaha.
Alapaha. Alapaha.
Georgia. On Ken Holyoke's Fish Farm and
Another
Hunting Reserve.
Bang on pronunciation.
Holyokes. It was a male hybrid of a wild hog and a domestic pig. Reported to be over 12 feet long and weighing over 1,000 pounds, it was originally considered a hoax. In March 2005, it was revealed that it was only 800 pounds and was between 6.9 and 8.6 feet long. But nevertheless, it's still a monster subject. There's also another big pig known as Fred, who was shot and killed by a 12-year-old boy named Jameson Stone on a game reserve that, according to hunters, weighed 1,051 pounds and was 9.4 feet long.
Damn.
The true dimensions are disputed. The boy used a Smith & Wesson Model 550 caliber revolver and shot it 9 times before killing him with a headshot.
Oh, nice. Pow!
That's how you get. Got to go for the head, man. Headshot.
Oh, it's coming at you.
Double tap. Apparently, the reserve purchased him from a farm who was selling all of their pigs. The Coursey hog is a hog shot and killed by William Coursey in Fayetteville, Georgia, that weighed over 1,100 pounds. Hog Kong was a giant pig who weighed 1,140 pounds when he was shot on a farm near Leesburg, Georgia. Big Bill was a pig who broke a leg in Jackson, Tennessee, and was put down when he weighed 2,552 pounds.
Do you have a photo of that?
I'm not sure which of these photos is which of those pigs.
Big Bill was
Big
2,000
Bill.
pounds. Wow.
That's a one-upmanship. Ton Pig was a hog from China that weighed 1,984 pounds and died from a lack of mobility because of obesity. Go figure. Big Norm was a pig who grew to 1,600 pounds and grew to 8 foot 4 inches.
Oh,
This is a real deal thing. You know?
Yeah, this is real.
These pigs
Real
exist.
deal.
These are big piggers.
that's crazy,
No,
man.
there was a time where literally genetically trying to stretch animals where they grew an extra rib.
Oh my god!
So you had more bacon, you had more ribs, you had more of that. They actually, obviously, I wouldn't say they succeeded, but like, come on, man,
That's huge.
those are
Who's
monsters.
the biggest one?
Are you suggesting that ribs and bacon come from one animal?
Almost
Magical
the exact same piece of meat.
And ham? Come
And
on.
ham, yeah.
I think my favorite is Big Bill.
And cheeks and head cheese and
Oh, man.
liver
I'm getting
and
hungry here.
kidneys.
Nope. Ham hocks. Ham
Ham
hocks.
hog. Ham hog.
2,552 pounds. Come on, Big Bill.
That's
that's
metric.
big.
Respect.
Isn't that a metric ton?
I think that's like 2 tons. I
No.
think
A
1,000
metric ton is 1,000 kilograms, so that'd be 2,200 pounds. So that's almost a metric ton. That's
Damn.
fucking huge.
That's a
Them
big
some
pig.
Big
Yeah.
pigs. They ain't no air hogs. They groundhogs.
They're more like roll hogs. They're
Yeah.
just wiggling around. Jesus.
I feel like this is just so anticlimactic now because that's just like
Come on, we're still talking
that
about
was
it.
massive.
Big,
Big Bill's
big,
incredible.
biggie.
We have to get a picture of Big Bill to put up on the
you bet.
Instagram. Okay, yeah, that's incredible.
You bet.
That's it.
That's amazing.
That's the list of big pigs.
Hogzilla.
Hogzilla. I like that they started to go down the naming conventions of like Ton Pig.
But like no boss hog or anything like
Hogzilla.
that.
Yeah, man. Boss Hog is the one that I was thinking of.
Bum,
Well-
bum, bum, bum.
Next one.
When you're that big, you're like a Jabba. You know, you're a hut. Like, it's just woof. That's going to take us to ad number 2.
All right. ATBProsper.com. Invest your money, not your time. With ATB Prosper, you can invest online in minutes. Then live your life while Prosper and some smart behind the scenes investment folks grow your money. Get started at ATBProsper.com because if you have dreams, you need investments. Don't forget to live long and ATB Prosper.
All right, here we go. Subject number 2, 10 fun facts about Groundhog Day.
Ding.
10 fun facts about Groundhog Day.
Okay, now first off, a little bit of history on Groundhog Day. Groundhog Day is a 1993 film starring Bill Murray.
Fuck yeah. I love it.
Oh,
Aren't you happy I didn't say anything?
I see. Yeah. Oh, thank you guys for not.
Aren't you glad I didn't say Bill Murray?
Okay, but all laughters aside, seriously, Groundhog Day, February 2, or Dax Day in Nova Scotia.
It's called Dax Day.
If you're on Nova Scotia, yep. It's a weird tradition celebrated in Canada and the U.S. and maybe other places. The Wikipedia page was like Canada, U.S. only, but then it had examples from like Serbia. So I don't know. And it has a lot of German roots, so it's probably celebrated all over the place. Okay, so the idea is that a groundhog or a woodchuck, I guess they're the same thing, comes out of its burrow and becomes a soothsayer for the coming season. If the rodent in question sees its unholy shadow due to clear weather, it will scamper back to its den. If it doesn't see its unholy shadow, then spring will arrive early and the rejoicing can start.
Hooray!
Yay! So there we go. Science, if there is such a thing as science.
That was so well timed.
It was amazing.
We can't just move past that. That was awesome.
That was incredible. That's
number 3 tonight, gentlemen.
Synergy. That has yet to prove. Science has yet to prove a concrete connection between the two scenarios, and as how they pertain to weather. Frankly, the whole thing stinks to high heaven, but it's not opinion time. Okay, here's 10 fun facts about Groundhog Day. The whole thing stems from a German celebration called Candlemas, in which spring's arrival was calculated by what time the sun rose or set or whatever on a day.
On a specific day.
On a day. Candlemas.
You say rose or set or whatever.
Yeah, rose or set or whatever. So
Whatever.
the sun came up, sun went down. They're like, well, there's
I think it took a break at around 2:30. I didn't really see it, but you know.
So I'm going to show you guys a really adorable picture here. You guys ready? This is like, get your adorables ready.
Ja.
Okay, here we go. Hup. I know.
Oh, what a toots.
Oh, look at that guy. Is
So-
that Phil?
Kind of just want to throw him into a seat.
It is.
A
It's
red
Phil.
truck and
So the most famous
throw him off a
groundhog,
cliff.
Punxsutawney Phil.
Phil.
Punxsutawney Phil.
Now, his full name is.
Punxsutawney Philip.
Oh, just okay. So you've got the right tone of voice there. I'm going to steal that.
Yeah.
No, I thought it was Phil, and his last name was Lip.
Wow.
Quiet.
Phil Lip. Okay, so his full name is Punxsutawney Phil, seer of seer, sage of sages, prognosticator of prognosticators, and weather prophet extraordinary.
Lip.
Yeah, I know. That's a little Lip. Yeah, sorry, Lip Esquire the Third. Groundhog Day was originally celebrated by eating stewed groundhog and drinking a punch called Groundhog Punch, which apparently included real groundhogs or they were punched, which was what I thought. I was like, okay.
But they just grabbed the guy.
Yeah.
Oh,
Back
that's
in your
just
hole.
like
Punch.
at Easter when we eat bunnies.
And we punch them before we eat them.
And we punch them first.
Give me an egg. Pow.
I didn't know you were supposed to punch him first. Oops.
Yeah.
Makes
It's like
it
Christmas,
better.
man.
That's right. Punch Santa.
Learn something new every day.
Come here, Santa.
Flipping a coin to predict the weather is statistically more accurate than any of this woodchuck crap. That's number 4. Number
That
5.
sounded like an opinion.
I don't.
That is
that's
not
it.
a fact,
Statistic.
my friend.
Number 5, groundhogs only live around 5 or 6 years and are herbivores. The Punxsutawney Phil from the movie, this is probably the current Punxsutawney Phil is probably like the great-great-grandson
God, what
or
a
granddaughter.
Prophetic line of groundhogs.
I know. It's just it's regal, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
incredible. And they're all majestic.
Royal blood.
Yep. While shooting the film Groundhog Day, Bill Murray was repeatedly bitten by a groundhog kept on site and was sent to the hospital numerous times for anti-rabies medication.
No kidding.
Which just, I love Bill Murray and I love the thought of him getting bit by a groundhog. I don't know why that's so funny.
Could you imagine like every scene he's with that damn thing? And it's like, fuck, again.
It would really help to drive home the crazy.
Well, it couldn't hurt the crazy,
You're
right?
just like, yes, that thing's gonna bite me.
Oh, and the jazz scene in that movie, just mwah. The biggest celebration in Canada is in Wyerton. I think I'm saying that right. Wyerton, Ontario. And the mascot of the event is Wyerton Willie. And the fun fact
Why
of
wouldn't
this,
they shorten that to Wired Willie?
Wired Willie? Well, yeah, I guess Wired Willie.
Wired Willie, Willie or won't he?
The best part of this is
You got
that
somebody to call. Like,
That's right.
you can call someone. You're a
Hire me.
brandsman.
Hire me.
The fun fact here is that he's an albino woodchuck.
That is
I know.
amazing.
A spirit
Do
groundhog.
you have a picture of Wired Willie?
Oh, we'll include one.
So what do they? So what do
Willie
they do
Willie.
when like this Wired Willie dies? Do they go look
It's
for
a
another?
strain. It's a family of albino woodchucks
Bullshit.
Love it.
from Wyerton, Ontario.
Love
The
it.
good-hearted people in Ontario. Yeah.
I gotta look this up.
It's called inbreeding, I think.
Ontario, they always get pissy because it's like in Alberta we're like out east in Ontario. They're like, we're not out east, that's Quebec, and everybody. It's like you guys
You're
are.
pretty much there.
Yeah, exactly. So
You guys are like metropolitan.
they're
Calm down.
the Middle East of Canada. Yeah, that's true, man. Are you looking for Wyerton? So Wiarton,
Why, yeah, Weirton.
and then Willie, as in Willie.
Oh my God! Look at him. He's so happy.
Oh my god,
Okay, that's
he's not a full albino though.
that's a dead one that's been stuffed for sure.
You
No,
sure?
he's just freaking
Absolutely stuffed by an
No.
amateur taxidermist. Look at it.
cheery
That's an
guy.
He's
abomination.
very smiley.
I would put this in my living room.
Exactly. That's not a real animal.
Beautiful. Little
Him and
Scream
Little
and
Scream
Kermit,
could be
they could
good
be
friends.
buds.
Yeah.
The
Oof.
three-headed duck.
Willie.
So much like Charlie and Greg, groundhogs will whistle at potential mates. In some languages, they are called whistle pigs.
You're not allowed to do that anymore.
Yeah, you're not allowed to. That's right. I keep telling you guys that. Stop whistling at potential mates. When groundhogs, this is incredible. I'm jealous. When groundhogs hibernate, their hearts go from approximately 80 beats per minute. They slow right down to 4 or 5 beats per minute. I know. So their heart beats once, like every 20 seconds.
I'm no longer going to need that
Amazing.
high blood pressure medicine. Then.
Totally. Become a groundhog. Like, what are you doing?
Do some
What are
yoga.
you doing with yourself?
do some yoga. I think you got some work to
Gonna
do.
have to do some Wyerton Willie.
Just go be an albino woodchuck. Now, it is not uncommon for other animals to use groundhog burrows. So, in fact, it is quite common for like rabbits or whatever other animals to like take over the burrow. So the groundhogs move out, they dig a new burrow. It's great.
So like, there's gonna be this big Groundhog Day celebration, and everyone, the
He's gonna
mayor,
leave his house, and some rabbit's gonna come.
the
in and
mayor's
take
all
it.
ready to go, and then a rabbit,
And then a
pops
rabbit
his
comes
head
out.
and he's
That-
Maybe
like,
that's what's happening. He doesn't.
Absolutely had to happen.
He doesn't see his shadow and go back in. He's just like, "Oh, motherfucker's about to go in my
I
house."
gotta get out of here.
Oh, it's terrible. I'm going to try to get through this without laughing. It's very common for a snake to enter the burrow, eat all of the groundhogs, including the little baby hoglets, and then use the burrow as a shelter for the winter.
You monster.
It's horrible.
Why is that so funny for you? Just some compassion is all we're asking.
It's actually not that bad.
That's amazing. Okay,
I don't
so
feel as bad for laughing this up.
that's 10 fun facts about Groundhog Day.
Snack time. Oh wait, that's not for the snake.
No, it's opinion time now.
Opinion time.
Opinion time, opinion time. Hey everybody, it's opinion time.
Okay, so Charlie, what was our first subject? Do you remember?
The box. What's in the box?
What's in the mystery
What's
box
in
in
the
New Brunswick?
box?
What's in the box?
And that's part of our. I was saying that we started with Oak Island,
Oak Island?
so that was Nova Scotia, New Brunswick. We're going to try to work
It's a
our
part of
way.
a trilogy.
We're going to try to work our way
or-
across.
Are you just gonna forget about
across
Newfoundland?
Canada?
And
No. We'll come back to Newfoundland. So
You know
Newfoundland.
you're working in the opposite
bounce
direction.
No. So we're
around.
going to start. We're going to start out east. We're going to try to hit all the provinces and territories with a theory.
All right.
So it's going to take a little while though, because you got to get a good one.
Yeah.
And there's a gem for Manitoba. Oh, ho, 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 mwah!
Isn't
But,
that it's a great place to live?
It's I got him. So okay, so that was the mystery box in New Brunswickian,
Yep.
and then Greg, what was our second? What was our animal? Was
monster of the
was
week was
Hogzilla?
Hogzilla.
Hogzilla and
Yeah.
Hog Kong and Big Dave and Skinny Pete.
You're just throwing out names now.
3 of them were at least
Yeah.
accurate.
So okay, I guess we'll start with you, Charlie. Here, do you think that that the CIA had a secret camera that landed in New Brunswick, even though it did?
Yes. Even though it did, yes. Even though we saw pictures of it and it actually really did, yes.
Actually, I guess the question here is more: do you think that the CIA is like doing like like secret operations in Canada for some reason.
Obviously.
Yeah.
For sure.
Okay, Greg, what do you? You're one of the guys, man. You're one of the salty, good-hearted shore folk.
Oh, I thought you were going to say he's one of the CIA.
No, you're one
Yeah,
of
I
like
just kind of thought of where he was going.
you're
So I
one
was
of the
like,
guys?
shit,
one of
well,
like the
I guess
the
you guys-
Lake Town guys from The
this is
Hobbit, like
this
where
is
the
last
dragons
episode.
coming in and all the folk are like, oh,
You
we're
calling? You just
simple,
call Greg a hobbit?
simple Lake Town folk, the Lake Town people, the Lake Town people.
We are people, not. I don't even know what to say to this.
I know.
I felt like there was a you was insulted me so.
Greg, just take
From
it.
the
just,
story of The
just
Hobbit.
take a break. Just take a break. Go have a second breakfast and come back.
Second breakfast. What about 11sies? Lunch. Second lunch. Tea. Second tea. Nah, man. I bet you, if anything, it was just probably a bunch of guys who were videotaping like birds and stuff. Or no, wait, it was huge. So
It was massive. You saw the pictures.
Birds. Did you not see the same pictures
But
as
do
me?
you think that it's a place
know.
that the CIA is like kind of been like, oh, we sort of use it as like a little testing ground and like
from the people I've met, absolutely.
That thing just flew off course.
I don't know if I've about that. Obviously, there was film in it. I remember you when you started it, you started to say that there is nobody there that could really investigate it. Like, but there are towns. Moncton is a town.
Moncton.
Moncton is a city. Like they would have places that you could take it like a dark room and develop all this.
1962 though.
Just put it in a
No,
dark barn.
Sorry, man. Like even if they had to send it away, they were getting it back.
Get it developed in a dark
there's
barn.
that thing that
Yeah.
just freaked me out.
So it's just that like 1962, the farmers were like, oh, we don't really want to open it. And he did call the RCMP and they're like, whatever. And then the military showed up. So which is odd.
The Canadian military showed up.
Yeah.
So my thing is, they said there was explosive dynamite powder on
That
the
was
tip.
where I
In
was-
the antenna.
It's got a dynamite tip.
Okay.
Why is there dynamite in the tip? Just the tip.
So
That
the
was
reason
going to be my next comment.
the reason is probably is because so if this thing did if it crashed for some reason,
Penetrated something.
if it lands
Yeah.
in crashing,
Right,
the
just-
dynamite tip will make it explode so that like if it crashes
Now,
over,
okay.
over top of the area it's surveilling.
We're saying just the tip, but we're talking about the tip of the box.
No, so what happened is, Kate, so it's a box. It's like shaped like a little fridge. And when they started to move it, this antenna shot out of it. And so it wasn't really in the part that I talked about. But the thinking was if this thing was falling, this antenna would come out.
Right, so-
and when it landed,
so
it
they-
would blow it up. They're lucky they weren't all blown up.
Yeah.
Although it would have been lying in
They
that tree for like
excited the
15
box.
years.
Well,
Yeah.
that's my thing. It's almost like any East Coaster would be like, "Oh man, what's this? I bet it'll kill us." Oh yeah, it'll definitely do that. And put it back.
That's dynamite, all right.
But my other thing was you talked about it later was the Lady McPherson. I forget her last name.
Lois
Lois
McPherson
Lois McPherson
down at the co-op.
down at the co-op. She opened it obviously and saw what was inside. Why didn't she blow up?
So the thing to open
I
it
get what
was
you're saying
the
that it
thing
was
to open
there.
it wasn't booby trapped, but what was booby trapped was if it crash landed, it would like self-destruct if it crash landed. So that if it was like
So-
surveying like a spot in Russia and then the thing falls down,
And
it'll
then the
blow
tip
up.
pops out.
Then the
it's-
tip will pop out and it crashes and blows up. And then the Russians will be like, "What's this like weird debris?" So this thing when it fell in Canada, which is odd because we're not exactly by Russia or China.
Well,
So-
it's not like we have a strait that could have connected.
on the other side of the country though. Like we're not talking about the territory.
You said earlier that it might have flown off course. Anything of this
that's
is possible.
Quite off course. Like that's where I'm like,
It depends on which flat Earth you're on.
I suppose so. Yeah, it is. And I just find it
Seems like it's a straight line.
yeah.
No, whether it was Russian and they were trying to spy on Eastern Canada, they weren't getting too much.
Yeah, they got some real
Yeah.
important data.
Yeah, with the fishing lanes in northern Newfoundland are really busy this time of year. Kind
Totally. And you're right because there's not a lot to look at there.
Yeah.
You know, like there's a bunch of cousins marrying each other. That'd be about
Whoa.
it. No, just kidding. That's terrible.
Okay, I've been cracking jokes. I didn't go that far.
Oh, sorry, that's terrible. But I know. But I mean, like honestly, like I don't know what they would have been surveying. So it probably blew off course. Like, and I don't blame the military showing up and being like, "We have to take this. Sorry, we're not going to tell you why. We're just going to take it," because it could have been full of like weird tech that they
Oh, absolutely.
couldn't let out.
Absolutely. The thing that I don't think that was weird tech is that they were like, "Oh man, we opened it and we saw film and there's cameras and then we don't see anything else than that. We see writing with different alphabet, English, and you said other letters that could have been Russian or anything.
But that
else.
could be some code the military uses.
Exactly.
For sure, you know,
right.
Yeah.
So I don't think there's enough evidence to say that
Could be
it was an alien Oh, of course.
I would definitely not say that. And I
don't think there's enough evidence to say that there was an alien. I don't think there was enough evidence to say that anybody was spying on Eastern Canada because, what was it, 1960 something?
it was surveilling something.
Like I said,
Yeah.
the winds in North, like Newfoundland.
The
are
winds of
heavy this year.
Watu.
So yeah, I just don't think there was too much there. Just some stuff to excite a town and
It blew off course.
keep a family and
Yeah. Good, salty, hearty, good-natured, good-humored people. Just good maritimers.
it's that salty air, man.
They're little hobbit towns.
They're all slightly dehydrated and delusional and don't know it. Yeah.
Oof. Okay, so Greg, do you think that there's giant hogs? I guess there's.
Yes,
yeah.
there's
Damn
absolutely
right.
giant hogs.
Absolutely.
We charge for this.
That's right.
Groundhog Day. Groundhog Day. There's not really any opinion on this, but I think it's a funny thing. I think it's hilarious that people used to eat groundhogs, and
I think it's just funny. You're like, hey, celebrate Groundhog Day. Thanks for Groundhog for looking at his shadow. Give me that groundhog stew.
what an odd concept though. Like the
Love that
groundhog
groundhog
comes out
steak.
and like maybe predicts the weather, but like that's it. Like that's the concept.
If
Like,
anything.
it's weird.
Off the bat, if there's anyone else there and the groundhog pokes his head out and he's like, oh, there's people here. I'm out.
Yeah.
It could be like Grizzly Bear Day. What if it had been a grizzly bear popping his head? I'd be like, is it time to come out?
Literally
yet?
could have been anything at all.
How'd he get in that hole?
Yeah, what was that starfish that was like predicting the like NBA playoffs?
No, Octopus.
Octopus.
Yeah.
So can you tell me how this worked here? Because this is the exact same thing, basically.
I really didn't pay attention to it because I thought it was ridiculous, but it was like the Octopus would win, like which team was going to go to do this, and then he'd be like, oh, which team is going to do this? It's going to win the NHL, and he'd move to that
He
side.
would go
and-
towards that logo
yeah.
at the press
Which
conference.
the funny part was that it was right more often than not, which is like when it's just like a law of averages, I would say. It's like if you ask enough dumb questions, like eventually it's going to be right enough times where you're like, whoa.
It's brilliant. Well, and that's what they said statistically, that flipping a coin is more accurate than the groundhog.
Sounds like an opinion.
Like there's more, because there's more factors
Way
involved in the
more to
groundhog,
it
so
than
that's the thing.
No, that's true. But yeah, the whole octopus, like, come on, man. I can throw a dart.
But you can't punch an octopus.
I'd love to.
And you can't pea soup, but you can roast beef, or however it is that joke goes. How's the joke go?
You can be soup.
Yeah.
That's what I thought you were talking about.
Aren't you glad we got to lift each other up and enjoy what little time we have left? There's precious moments, just minutes, seconds maybe. Joy and special feelings right in the tender feelers. We really do appreciate you stopping by. Thanks for listening. Thank you for rating. We appreciate that. Thank you for reviewing. We appreciate that. Subscribing. We appreciate that. When you tell a friend, tell a neighbor, tell your octopus when you punch a woodchuck. That's great. We appreciate that.
Punch a woodchuck.
Don't punch anybody. You can check out all of our past episodes and social media stuff at itsaconspiracypodcast.com. And we will be back with our Valentine's special 2
Electric Boogaloo
on February 13th. Take care and happy Groundhog Day. Yay.
Alapa.